Be certain to make herbvideos.com your favorite place for lifestyle and health information.
My philosophy is pretty simple. It's to mix art and philosophy together, to mix art and regionalism, to use the foods of the local area and to mix them in a surprising and sometimes astonishing manner to trigger off as many of the senses to overlay one another as I can. It's certainly not traditional cooking, I admit that, but it's fun. It's the way I think artists like to cook, with that element of the unknown and surprise.
Hi, I'm Jim Meuninck. Welcome to the Herb Cottage. That was John Braun sharing his edible flower cooking philosophy with you. We'll get back to John a little later in the show. But right now, I'd like to take you on a coast-to-coast adventure, learning from the experts how to cook with garden flowers and culinary herbs. It's a lot of ground to cover, so let's get started. Our first stop is Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Here on the shores of this wilderness paradise is a best-in-Canada restaurant, the Sooke Harbor House. Our host, Dr. Sinclair Phillip, and his wife, Frederica, specialize in edible flower cuisine. The Harbor House gardens contain over 100 different edible flower species. Frederica and gardener Byron Cook will identify some edible flowers and flower dishes.
Hello, I'm Byron Cook. Let's take a walk through the gardens of Sooke Harbor House, and I'll show you some edible flowers. This is a Malva machata, common name muskmallow. It has an edible flower which is quite sweet. It's a white form and a pink form. Chive blossoms, along with many of the alliums, are edible, and I would suggest that you let a few plants go to flower in your garden and use them instead of using the chive leaves. Another edible flower that has been used for a long time is borage, which has a slight cucumber flavor.
A very delicate dish, gravlax, with a lemon garlic dressing, and it has all the garlic, chives, cucumber and borage flowers.
Chive blossoms, I would suggest that you let a few plants go to flower in your garden and use them instead of using the chive leaves. Calendula officinalis is one of the oldest edible flowers, and from its name you can tell it's been used for medicinal purposes also. The leaves are sometimes used in salads. The pansies in this picture are some that have just, for the most part, self-seeded here, except the black ones. They're all edible, and Frederica has a beautiful plate to show you.
So we have here buttermilk waffles with 2 different sauces, strawberry rhubarb and apricot and blueberries, and they are garnished with pansies, little Johnny jump-ups, and daylilies.
Prince Rupert is a variegated, lemon-scented geranium that is quite hardy and would survive a mild winter here. This is another pelargonium which is not scented, and we have a sorbet with this as a decoration.
Very nice sorbet. It's a sumac ridge, Gewürztraminer, loganberry and scented geranium sorbet, and with very vivid colors.
This is one of the several types of lavenders that we have. They seem to grow especially well here on the seashore. This is one of the earlier blooming ones that's just about finished.
We have here a plum custard flan. It also has a nice lavender ice cream.
Excuse me, but all this good food is making me hungry. How about you? Let's take a break and make some lavender ice cream. First, scald 1.5 cups of cream with 1.5 cups of milk. Enter 2 tablespoons of vanilla. Next, beat 7 egg yolks with 1/3 cup of honey. Simmer over water till the blend thickens. Now combine the cream with the eggs and cook until the blend coats a spoon. Stir in a heaping tablespoon of lavender blossoms. Then, after the blend has cooled in the refrigerator, strain it into an ice cream maker. Follow manufacturer's recommendations for mixing, and voila, lavender ice cream decorated with scented geraniums. This'll keep your guests buzzing. Now back to the garden with Dr. Sinclair and his favorite edible flowers.
While Byron's over here planting leeks, I'd like to show you what I consider to be some of the very best edible flowers there are used in North America today, as well as in many other countries. In front of us here, we have the shangiku, sometimes called garland chrysanthemum or Japanese chrysanthemum. With this particular plant, it's the leaf which is the most desirable part, and you want to keep them cut back generally so that the small leaves remain tender and are good both for salads and for cooking. The flower petals also are edible, and generally speaking, in Oriental countries, they prefer the yellow flower over the whitish colored flower. Tuberous begonias are probably one of the most outstanding of the edible flowers, and other than their fleshy, lemony flavor, which is excellent and makes a nice contrast to rich foods, the color of these flowers imparts a very beautiful color into sauces.
We have here a dish of gooseneck barnacles with tuberous begonia vinaigrette, and the tuberous begonia gives the nice color to the sauce and also a very nice lemony flavor.
Jim, this is a yucca, and it's principally used as an edible flower in Mexico and in Latin American countries. It produces a fruit. Generally speaking, in this northern climate, it doesn't produce much of a fruit, but we use the flowers more than anything else for their texture and their color, and they're particularly nice in omelets. Jim, these are daylilies. They are one of the prime edible flowers used very much in China and Japan and grown as a large commercial crop. They are very, very nice in stews. The dried buds are used in quite a wide variety of dishes, from soups to stews to omelets. The petals themselves are edible and excellent in salads. They're very nice cooked. They withstand marination. A word of warning about lilies and daylilies in general: be absolutely sure that you're talking about Hemerocallis or Lilium species, because there are a number of plants that are called lilies which in fact are not and can be quite poisonous. All roses are edible, and roses, probably more than any one flower, have been used for cooking for thousands of years. In England they were extremely popular for a long period of time. People made vinegars, they made chutneys, they made oils, a variety of different desserts, biscuits, any number of different things with roses. There have been entire books written on just cooking with roses and nothing else. All nasturtiums are edible, and all parts of the nasturtium are edible: leaf, flower, and seed pod. The leaves are very nice in salads. The flowers make beautiful vinegars and color the vinegars of similar color to the color of the flower. The pods are a very good caper substitute when pickled and are often used dried as a pepper substitute. Nasturtiums are also quite nice cooked. We tend to use the flowers more than any other part, cooked with fish dishes folded in at the very last minute before serving. It adds a strong peppery flavor. This is sweet woodruff, which is traditionally used in Europe and particularly in Germany for May wine. It's also a nice edible flower in that it has a very vanilla-like flavor during part of the season. This is also an excellent herb that grows well in the shade. Dianthus flowers are all edible. Probably the prime edible of the Dianthus flowers is the clove pink. This has a very clove-like flavor, but more importantly, when we're looking at this particular Dianthus, you will notice that the flower petals are extremely beautiful for decorative purposes, whether it be for desserts around a plate or on a salad. More than anything else, we use our flowers here for decorative purposes on desserts and main courses.
We're going to move away from the Sooke Harbor House for a while, but remember these and other Harbor House recipes are detailed in the brochure that accompanies this video. Now let's head for the mountains of Gold Hill, Colorado, where master herbalist Deborah Nuzzi will capture the essence, color, and flavor of flowers in berry sauces, vinegars, alcohol, and oil.
So now let's take a look at some of our wild mountain flowers. We'll be making some delicious preparations of wild mint, wild raspberries, choke cherries, and wild mountain bergamot. Now this is a berry sauce or soup that we're preparing from fresh raspberries and choke cherries. You can use it also as a sauce to pour over ice cream. It's delicious. Put 1 cup each of the raspberries and choke cherries into the pan. And then mash them all together with a potato masher. After the berries are mashed, add 1/2 cup of water. Stir. Bring to a boil and then immediately take it away from the stove so that you don't overcook the berries. Now you can add some peppermint flowers, which will give it a mild peppermint flavor. 2 or 3 sprigs of the peppermint leaf and flower should be enough to flavor the berry soup. Now pour the sauce through a strainer so that you can strain out the large choke cherry seeds. You're going to have to push down a little bit to make it go through the strainer, and then it will drip out the bottom. Now add in the 1/4 cup honey. Then you can drizzle it over ice cream and top with a sprig of flowering mint. Your final product can also be a raspberry tuile, like this one, made by Chef Eric Burson of the Lickskillet Cafe in Gold Hill, Colorado. Here we're going to make a spicy vinegar with bergamot flowers. Bergamot is known as oswego tea or bee balm, and it's also wild oregano, so you're going to have that oregano flavor in the vinegar. Simply snip the flowers and fill the jar. Now fill the jar with vinegar to the top. We're using raw apple cider vinegar here. Snap on the lid and leave for 2 weeks. You can use this as a base for salad dressings combined with olive oil. The wild mountain peppermint makes a wonderfully strong essence for flavoring foods. A large quantity of the volatile oils are stored in the flower itself, so this makes an exquisite essence. Simply take some of the leaves, crush them in a mortar and pestle. Make sure you work them down really well so that you break the cellular structure of the leaf wall. This releases the volatile oils. And then place them, after you've pulverized them, into a jar, a small jar, and fill to the top with 190 proof grain alcohol, or vodka if you have no other choice. But the stronger the alcohol content, 190 proof is 95% alcohol, the better the essence that you get. Then what you want to do is treat this like a tincture. You cover it and shake it daily for 14 days, and then you have